Tonight we are hanging out by Katie's Christmas tree. We've been meaning to sit down and film an update video, and it's just not happening. So tonight is the night, which is a good thing. We wanted to briefly talk about the hurricane and ways that you can help. That information just changes so fast, and you've got to kind of stay updated about it. And we wanted to talk a little bit about Granny and just kind of our posting schedule and just any kind of general updates as we're kind of closing out this year and going into the next year. So I'll let Katie do most of the talking about the hurricane stuff that we want to talk about. But, you know, we made that original video about Hurricane Helene, and our intention was not to go viral by any means, but we are glad that it got a lot of views, because then that means hopefully that a lot of people have used the links in the description to help people. A lot of people have commented saying that they have, which is just, we just can't thank you enough. It's wonderful. It's not on the news. There's just not, I don't feel like, a lot of national or public coverage, and the people need help, and it's not over, and it's not going to be over. And what we talked about specifically in Haywood County, which is 2 or 3 counties over from us, and where our dad is from, where our grandparents live, it's just frustrating, the situation, and Katie can talk more about it, but I even called up we both talked to one of the county commissioners there, Terry, and we've been in contact with our folks on the ground, and it's just a frustrating situation. But I really feel like God is using, and that's what we've heard, that God is using this. We've heard that from other people, but also so many people are just coming out of the woodwork, not just in our community, but across the country. I seen a video on Real Estate Mindset, their channel, searching kind of recovery. Someone came from Canada that, like, he professionally does that, and he come all the way from Canada just so they could use his tool to find people, unfortunately, who are no longer living. And anyway, so I'll let Katie take it away. We'll try to be brief, and just remember, all the links will be in the description. So don't worry about, well, what did they say, and how can I donate, and how can I help? It'll all be in the description, and all these things that we're talking about, because every once in a while we do get flack about, well, is that really legit, and all this kind of stuff. All these people, it's church-led, it's individuals-led. So yeah, we do trust these people. And then one more thing, I swear I'll be done.
No, you're fine.
But Katie and Mom and Dad went to Haywood County this past weekend. Austin and I didn't get to go, unfortunately, but that is firsthand. They were there. They saw it. They saw the damage. And you talked to our grandpa, which is pulling permits, working with the code office all the time, because that's what he does, because he's an electrician. So go for it.
Okay, I'll try to be brief, because I want to get all of this information to you in a way that is easy to understand, accessible, because I know a lot of you still want to help, and there's going to be a long-term need for help. So I have some notes on a notepad here. I have some notes on my phone. I may reference those so that I can stay on track with what I want to speak about. I will say, because you just touched on it, we did make a trip to Haywood County to visit family for the holidays, and while we were there, we were on the way to my aunt and uncle's house, and we had to go through Clyde to get to my aunt and uncle's house. So we drove through there, and we took a look at some of the stuff that we've been hearing about, you know, these tent cities in Clyde, taking a look at some of the pictures that I saw come out early on from the hurricane, and it was just, I don't even know what to say. I mean, devastating, that's not enough. I mean, it was just hard to believe what we saw, hard to believe what that water must have done. There was debris in these trees 30 feet high. 30 feet high. I saw a root ball, a tree attached to a root ball that was like taller than the car turned on its end. It was massive, and it didn't get pulled up right there. It got pulled up somewhere else, and it was washed down the river and deposited almost in the highway next to another log jam. There was stuff everywhere. I saw multiple house sites where I could tell there had been a house, a basement, a foundation, house destroyed and gone. Just splinters of wood and clothing and toys and personal effects laying in the yard where the house would have been. I saw multiple trailer frames with the trailer completely gone. I did see tents. Yes, I did. I saw just barns and sheds just stacked up in the brambles in the river. I saw cars in the river. I saw all sorts of stuff in Clyde and another community called Lake Logan in Haywood County, and it broke my heart. It was horrible. And I was riding, and Ira was in the back of the car with me in the car seat, and I just thought, oh my gosh, what would I have done if that was me and the water was rising and I had this baby? What would I do? And I just felt awful, you know, and I just felt teary-eyed, and I just felt terrible, and I thought, what could I do? What could I do? I felt so helpless. And this has happened, remember, this happened the day after our birthday. It happened September 26th, 27th, the hurricane come through there. And so these people have been living like this. These people have been displaced from their homes since this amount of time. One thing I will say, before I move on to the resources that I want to tell you about, we were on Hyder Mountain Road, and we turned around and we went back up toward a community road called Thickety. And I say this because if you live there or you've been there, then you know what I'm talking about. We passed a park. I think it was used to be a dog park, which was completely and totally destroyed. We turned around not far past that. Actually, we turned around on Cogburn Farm Road, and there was a house there that you could tell had been desperately flooded, and they had a temporary power pole. On our way to exit, I saw a gigantic debris pile. I mean huge. I don't know how tall it was. Just like this ginormous conglomerate junk pile. And on the very top of that junk pile, there was an American flag. Somebody had went all the way up there and tied an American flag to a branch that was just standing up. And I thought, oh my gosh, here's these destitute people, and they went all the way up there just to tie that American flag. And you know, it just felt like a reminder, you know, of what these people have been through and what's happened to them, of our country and what our country is supposed to stand for, and what our what would you say government is supposed to do for us, and what they've not done for us. So
yeah, it's no problem for them to give, since just this has happened. It's just the money alone that had went to other countries.
Yep.
could have fixed a lot.
Exactly. And I'm not going to sit here and make a political statement, but I am going to say, however, on the line of Haywood County, there's a Haywood County Commissioners meeting, and you can go watch that meeting if you want to, and you
We'll
can
leave the link in the description.
We will, and you can see what you think about that video yourself in terms of how the commissioners handled themselves during that meeting and what was said in terms of help and aid to their citizens. Haywood County, at the time of that meeting, the commissioners had closed their emergency shelters because they didn't see that there was a need for them. When I drove through Hyder Mountain, I saw a great need. At that time, the building code, the state fire marshal of North Carolina, had not moved some of the emergency temporary housing laws, if you will, and these people, I don't know where they are, but their houses are gone. So they're in some sort of temporary housing. And what would you do if you were going to come back to your home and you couldn't build? My grandpa, who's the electrician, told me this is what's going on. At that time, and I think it's probably still true at this moment, you cannot have a permanent structure in a floodplain. Now, you can have a temporary structure to get you out of the weather. You can have a camper, and you might get a temporary power pole for that camper. But I don't know where that leaves you for sewage. I don't know what that means. But it's temporary, hence the word temporary. You're not going to build back there. You're not going to put your home back there unless you can comply with the building code. So that means stilts. And there are houses and there were trailers in that area. Not all of them, but some of them own stilts, concrete block stilts. Now, this is not me being ugly, but I'm making a statement that some of these areas and neighborhoods, they're not high-income neighborhoods. These aren't people who have the money and the resources to build back per the floodplain building code. So I don't know what they're going to do. I guess they're just shafted. But I also guess the businesses, however many minutes downtown, literally, that they share their border with the river, it's no problem for them to continue to build back over and over in a floodplain. But the residents, I guess, are just forget them, and they're shafted. And I guess there's no tents and nobody in need, even though I literally saw tents with my very own eyes because I was there.
And some of those people, not to cut you off, but some of those people in tents, because we've been in communication with the pastor from Canton, Wesleyan, some of those people want to remain anonymous. They don't want people knowing
that
they're in a tent, and they don't want people knowing where they're at because they're afraid of losing their land. They're afraid of people taking their kids. They want to remain anonymous, so there is definitely a level of that, which I get.
Yes, and I've been working to try to make sure the areas, the locations that I saw that I took notes about are being rendered aid. But I don't think that it was warranted, and I think it's pretty ridiculous for the Haywood County Commissioners to get up there and say some of those people are choosing to live in tents. They're electing to live in tents, and we can't really do nothing about the people who want to be in tents. And that's, I'm sorry, but that's a lie. That's not true.
No, and they're living in tents because they're being forced. Sometimes your hand can be forced in different ways, and you don't want to do something, but you're kind of being forced to. And I get it. If it was my... and we had a comment on the channel about that from someone who lives out there, basically about how we were just lying and it wasn't true, and how all those people, you know, they shouldn't have been living there to start with. That's what the actual comment said. I blocked that person, by the way. And their animals, if they were lucky that their animals survived and being on your land, and I can understand not wanting to go and live in a shelter. And then there's looting happening. If I knew in the bottom of the rubble of my house there was one thing that was mine, that was mine, I would want it back. You know, that even just that alone, my Lord, a piece of anything after you've been through all that. So,
all that to say, that's another reason why these people need help. I recently saw where, and if you don't believe me, go look at the Yancey County, North Carolina Yancey County Emergency Page, Services Facebook page. They posted a public service announcement from FEMA that says that temporary, or what would you say, transitional sheltering assistance for those who have been put up by FEMA vouchers in hotels may possibly be coming to an end for some. That if you are one of those folks, you need to go check at the front desk immediately in the hotel that you are staying in and see how the holiday season in that hotel is going to affect you. If people have made reservations, Christmas holiday travel reservations in that hotel, you may be asked to leave for those people who are going to come in, who already have a house, who are going to come stay in the hotel. So this, I'm not saying that this is by any means a comprehensive understanding of what's going on, that this video is, or any video that we ever make will be a comprehensive understanding of what's going on, because this hurricane affected North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Florida, probably Kentucky, other places. But what I'm saying about what's going on here is there is holes and there is gaps where people who are in desperate need, they are falling through those holes and those gaps because our United States government has dropped the ball. And in many cases, the local and state government, remember, who take your taxes. They take your tax dollars, and they're supposed to represent you with your tax dollars, but they have not. They have taken your money and hung you out to dry. And in other places, like Yancey County, there's no tax exemption. As of like a week or two ago when I checked, there's no tax exemption. You're going to owe taxes on property that you don't have.
That's not there anymore.
A car, a house, physical property that you can't even pay. And then maybe you can't even register with FEMA to receive help because you need 2 proofs of identification. You have no computer. You have no mailbox. You have no proof of identification because all that had been washed away.
I mean, your birth certificate would have been
You have no license. You have nothing. You have no proof of insurance.
We just want to share, folks. I mean, that it's that dire. And we
don't
want...
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It's a big deal.
We don't want people to forget about it. And it's, you know, any way you can donate. But your prayers are everything. We've said that before, and we'll say it again. Your prayers are everything. To just keep these people on your heart and mind. Just every time you think about them throughout the day, multiple times, just sending up a prayer.
Exactly.
And of course, I mean, arguably that goes for, I mean, this is not the first tragedy just because it's in our backyard. I mean, there's tragedy all over, all the time in this country and other countries, and we need to pray for those people.
Exactly.
We need to be grateful for what we have.
But just
tell us about some of the
It's absolutely, utterly
resources.
Ridiculous, and you should be as disgusted and insulted by it as I am, and as you would be if you were really in the position. So, one thing my grandpa told me, like I told you about the campers and the housing, all of that stuff, there's several particular families that he knows of in this shape and in this condition who aren't living in a tent, but they're living in a rundown, ramshackle house. One particular family, they had a home in Clyde, probably one of the ones that we saw literally get swept away. They were working on paycheck by paycheck building a home out in another area. Okay, well, their house got demolished, and it's a family with children, and now they're living in this house that they're building. There's a roof, and there's some studs, and that's about it. There's no windows, there's no doors, there's no insulation, there's no power, there's no nothing. They're literally huddled in the middle of this shack with blankets, and that's it. And they've been going through 20-degree nights like this. So the resources that I'm going to share with you are resources to go to help them, to help other people in other counties. So one thing that we've mentioned before, Wayne Allred with Operation Mountain Relief. Operation Mountain Relief started as kind of immediate assistance, like I've talked about before, for food, water, etc. It's grown into be this huge operation funded by people like you who are offering help to it. I think that's fantastic. Thank you for your donations for that. All of you who I know have already donated for that. So Operation Mountain Relief, if you will, is a resupplier of some of these hubs. They have money, they have resources to get to these people in cut off, isolated places to render them aid. So Wayne goes into the mountains himself to drop some of this stuff off. On his YouTube channel, you're going to find videos of him doing just that. So you can verify that these places and these organizations I'm talking about are real, they exist. You can see where your money is going. It's 21 churches really that are doing this, and now they have increased to like 10 or 11 drop-off locations that they are resupplying. They also have other projects I've talked about other than just the physical resupply. They are sponsoring 7 different families right now. The people who fell through the cracks. They're not getting FEMA assistance. They're not on any other type of government assistance. Their insurance does not cover their loss. 7 families that have been adopted, and they are giving them money to help them rebuild and fix the damage done to their lives and their homes by Hurricane Helene. So you're going to find a link to Wayne's channel called Deep River Farm in the description below. You can go watch his videos where he's talking about delivering physical items to some of these locations. I know I'm going quick, but I'm going to get all of this in here. So one of the hubs that he goes to deliver stuff to is Bald Creek. That's a place where in Burnsville, outside of Burnsville, where they serve about 1,500 people that are cut off and isolated. And so they're giving them everything from food to formula, baby diapers, electric blankets, heaters. That's a big thing right now. That's a location. They're also working with a woman named Alyssa who started Rising Light Relief, another small, it's not so small now, it's gotten bigger, organization that provides material things and hot meals to people. They work to resupply her as well. She is in Bakersville, I think, North Carolina. They started recently. They went to a place called B-Log. They went to a place called Red Hill. So these are places you can watch them drive to on the YouTube channel and talk to the people who are there and how they're helping through that hub, the people in their community. So right now, the biggest need since Operation Mountain Relief is this wonderful thing that exists. They are physically acquiring the items and they are delivering them. So the biggest need right now is a monetary need. They need money to continue to buy the items that they need. They also need money to continue to help people rebuild. So right now they have like 4 warehouses full of stuff. So they have enough stuff, but they need money to continue to meet the needs of people who need to rebuild, like the 7 families. One of those individuals in the family, and of course all of their sensitive information have been protected. One of the individuals is disabled, and so that family, they have to stay at a hotel right now because they need access to an elevator. Stairs are not an option. So I don't know how long they're going to be able to stay at the hotel, but Operation Mountain Relief is funding the hotel bill.
Yeah, so anything you can contribute.
Monetary donation, right. Now, they got so many heaters. They were able to give everybody 1 heater. Now they've doubled back, and they're beginning to give everybody another heater if they need it. So that means that propane bill is high. So money to help foot the propane bill. So a lot of these people who lost their homes, they are paying insurance over mortgages that they no longer have. Or what would you say, insurance and mortgages over homes they no longer have.
That's not even there.
Which is terrible. So the monetary donation is big. And Wayne, interestingly enough, the church that he goes to, the Wesleyan church in Randleman, North Carolina, the Midway Wesleyan church, I thought this was really interesting. The pastor at Flat Rock that we've all been talking about, Pastor Tim at the Bethel Wesleyan church that's tied up. Well, Pastor Tim's mama grew up in Canton and goes to the Canton Wesleyan church. So there's 3 churches that are helping in Operation Mountain Relief in a way that all 3 churches are connected. Pastor Tim is connected to Wayne, and Wayne is connected to Pastor Tim, and Pastor Tim's mom goes to Canton Wesleyan at Amanda's church.
His mom has been sick.
Yep, that's right. So, yes, Pastor Tim's mother has been sick. So that's one more verification. I've physically talked to these people. So we know that these people are doing really good work. Another way to donate is through the Helping Hands. That's what's helping those 7 families at the Central Global Methodist Church. The link to that will be down below. If you just want to help Operation Mountain Relief and you say, hey, well, how am I going to donate money specifically to them? Down in the description below, you're going to find a place to do that. You're going to find their physical address. You can send them a check in the mail. Make sure when you send funds, you specify Hurricane Helene Relief so it goes into that fund and not the General Assembly Fund. Also, there's a PayPal account associated with that too. So that will be down there in the description. I might have one or two more things, and then I'll wrap this part of my
doing
thing
that,
up.
While you're finding that, I've got two things. I think we already talked about Canton, Wesleyan, but I had talked to Amanda there, and I had told her that we would definitely mention that in this video. And so, again, with Canton, Wesleyan, we're going to put the information down that you can donate to them specifically. Again, they're a church itself, and I guess you already said that. But she was a real nice lady, and I was talking to her, and she said, you know, people, they need money, and they need gas cards, and and they're reaching out and doing all they can, and so I just wanted to, I guess you already mentioned that, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That makes me think about, you know, I'm going to put the address of these physical churches in the description below, so if you feel led to just donate, send money to this church that says this is for the hurricane, use it as you see fit, that's a fantastic and appropriate use of your donation. Do that.
And then while you're finding that, other thing that just crossed my mind that I meant to put in this video, you may know by now that John Ward, which we talked about with the Appalachian channel, the lady named Rosalie that he was helping, she was a scammer.
Unfortunately,
you probably know that by now. But she was a scammer. Not the first time she's done this. There's an article he shared where she did this in 2006. How someone could do that, I don't know. But if you send a check there and you haven't already, cancel it. And she was a scammer, which is terrible. And there was another lady that the Aeroponic channel talked about that she thought was a scammer.
Yeah, so that's why I'm bringing you these resources that I can 100% verify. 100% of what you donate goes to the people in need. So remember, one thing I did want to mention is a lot of these places are 501c3s, so you will have a tax exemption or a tax break for donating to these places, the 501c3s, because that's a charitable donation. Now, for people who are still asking about a physical need for stuff, I know we said they need money. Yes, they need money, but there are still one or two Amazon wish lists floating around out there. Bald Creek has one, and I think Rising Light Relief have one. They're really being supplied by Operation Mountain Relief, but if they need specific things, that might possibly be on that wish list, but I still stress the monetary.
And we've been getting emails, and again, just thank you of people donating and wanting to help, and we're trying to field those as much as we can, and we just appreciate that.
One interesting video, and this is the last thing I'm going to mention, on Wayne's channel. Again, that's such a good channel because he's giving you an update for all this stuff. Tammy, this woman named Tammy, in Ellenboro, North Carolina, she made this grassroots volunteer camp called Cotton Patch. And if you want to volunteer, you're a young, able-bodied person, you have construction experience, or you want to be doing construction type of stuff, Tammy has a Facebook page. I'm going to put her link in the description down below to her Facebook page. You can contact her, Tammy Krill, and she talks about what they're doing there in the video at the Cotton Patch. So her and her husband have acreage, and when they, 2 days after the storm, she was outside in her yard. She saw the helicopter. She went inside. She got some spray paint. She drew an X, a landing pad for the helicopter. Helicopter come down. She talked to the folks, and they set up a volunteer camp. So they literally had camp at her place. And she said, we bought a bunch of supplies, we did all this stuff, and she said, I told my husband, build it, and they will come. And they did. All these people showed up from other places, Pennsylvania, wherever, to help rebuild for these folks. So, everything will be in the description below. I hope I covered it all. It's just such a heartfelt, spirited, real heavy, emotional thing, and I want to get it all across to you, and I don't want my butt ripped, not because I don't want to be butt hurt, but because I want you to understand this is not a joke, this is not a game, this is very serious.
There's one other thing that I could think
and
of.
I'm accurate in what I'm saying.
Yes, so there's one other thing I could think of. I got this email from this precious lady. She makes bunnies.
Yes.
And they crochet, and so there's going to be like 100 kids who get those, and they're called Some Bunnies because some bunny loves you, like somebody loves you.
That's wonderful.
And that lit up my heart. I just thought that was so nice. And you know, second in what you said is, it's that severe, and it is, you know, not that I'm not moved by other terrible things that happen in this country and other countries, but I don't know, there's just something about it being in your backyard, and it's just like every time I think about, you know, a baby who, what if they don't have formula or diapers or just these terrible traumatic things that have happened to these people, it hurts. I mean, it just hurts, and it makes me try to remember to be very grateful for what I have and not complain about anything, but it hurts. And so just the continued prayers, and, you know, I feel like we got real long-winded with this, and I'm like, we'll be brief, but what
it
matters
takes as
is,
long as it takes.
It does, and what matters is sharing this information, and it will all be in the description below, and any way you can help, or any way if you know of someone wanting to help, this can be a place. Sometimes it's hard to dig and figure out, but yeah, you can always shoot us an email, and that's in the description. But let's talk about other stuff going on, and then we'll get off here. I gotta go home and give a baby a bath. And
other updates, we did talk about possibly our video schedule might look slightly different around the holidays.
We're not exactly sure, but we thought about, we want to post on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and we want to post on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And we've got comments in the past about people saying that they're lonely, and that we bring them comfort. And I'm just gonna cry with everything.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm too worked up and mad about the way that the bureaucracy works. I'm sitting over here like the red tape and the bureaucracy keeping these people from getting the help that they need, and so now I can't cry because I'm just mad because your blood pressure's too high. But so we want to be able to do that, but because of that, we may kind of post on the front end of that for those 2 weeks, which is next week and the week after that. But we'll see about the video schedule coming up, and then, of course, then we'll be going into the new year. We're going to do a bloopers video, but I'm frustrated with that because I copy and paste all the bloopers all year long into a separate movie. And the way this laptop works, I've never done a bloopers video on this laptop yet. Somehow some of the files are missing, and I know how it happened, but I don't really know how to keep it from happening, and it's frustrating. So there will be a bloopers video, but I just don't feel like it will be as good as it would have been because it's going to be missing files. I like to compile stuff from all year long, and I end up with lots of footage, and it takes me a long time to get it just right. But that's okay. I'm just going to go with what I've got, and next year I'll try to figure out how I can keep missing files from happening. Other updates, so that covers our video schedule being a little bit different. Have no fear, we'll pick it back up. Sometimes it's just hard with babies and trying to get stuff videoed. So
and some weeks are easier than others. Some weeks just happen to work out, and then some weeks are like...
Some weeks are just barely making it. And that's why sometimes our videos have been going out later at night, too, because it just literally takes all day to get something done. But there's that. I'm trying to think about anything else. I'm pretty much doing the same old with my shop. I'm not working as much, but I've shipped most of my Christmas orders that I think I need to ship that'll get there in time. So now I may just I'll probably taper off a little bit, take it a little bit easy for the holidays. If I can get a inventory made and put in there, great. If I can't, I'm just gonna not stress about that. Enjoy the holidays.
In Austin now, we're gonna be traveling.
Yeah, I already did my traveling, so they're gonna be traveling
some, and
you get back on Christmas Eve, and we'll have our family. So we need to give an update on Granny, and then we're going to end this video here because I know
bet it's probably 30 minutes.
Yeah, I bet it is too. And I always think, we're going to be brief, but it just takes as long as it takes to be accurate and concise with what I want to talk to people about. And there's always, after the video ends, I'm like, there's so many things I wanted to say, and I didn't say. But
and then I always tell myself, I know not everyone watches the full videos. I mean, our analytics tell us that. But if there's someone I really want to watch, like the Minimum Mom, I watch every second of every video she posts.
Me too. Like the person, whoever I like to watch, I just want more of their content. But so Granny, as many of you know who watch my mom's, our mom's channel, many of you know, we didn't get great news with her like we wanted to. So after her initial cancer diagnosis and her first round of chemotherapy and radiation, we got the news that the cancer looked like it had shrunk and stayed put, and that's it. After that, between then and now, Granny had this episode where she pretty much almost bled to death before she could get to the hospital. And then once she got there, she pretty much almost bled to death again. And then they... Multiple times. And they put her on an airplane, a helicopter, and they flew her down to a place where she could get more aid. And it was a very scary touch-and-go place. And chemotherapy can do that to you. There's just different things that can happen in the process of treating cancer that can really hurt you, kill you, etc. She went back and got another scan, and they found that the cancer, the initial tumor, hadn't done anything. It was where it was, but now that it's in her lymph nodes is what they think. So it's essentially spreading, and one of her lymph nodes was like twice the size that it's normally supposed to be. And so they said, that's cancerous, and that's usually what happens. It moves from wherever it was, and it just takes over. So she's not a candidate for probably further treatment. Definitely not radiation. They can only do that once, I think, in one area. and the chemo was very, very hard on her, and I don't know if she could handle that again. So they said what we're going to do is just pretty much keep a watch on it, and it's just kind of a wait thing. So, you know, it's not really great news. And the only thing I could think of is what if what happens to Miss Cindy happens to her, you know. But Miss Cindy's cancer was in her brain, and she really had no idea what was going on. She was very confused. She wasn't scared, I don't think, but she was very ill, very angry, very confused. She was kind of cantankerous before she had cancer anyway. Some of that was just her, but, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't want Granny to go to that same place because that was very hard. It was horrible. And I don't care to be that caregiver. I don't care to be there to provide all your needs because you're bedridden and you can't. Don't have a problem. But it just absolutely it breaks my heart to see somebody go through that. Granny's spirits are very high. She's in very good hopes. She seems... I know you're just over there crying.
I'm sorry. I'm just like cried through this.
It's okay. No, it's okay. She's in high hopes. Her spirits are good. You really just can't pin her down. I know most days she doesn't feel good, but she still gets out as much as she can and goes. Physically, she's pretty feeble. She did have a doctor's appointment, and her blood pressure was out the roof. If you're already on so many medications, when you go through chemo, they adjust those medications because the chemo changes all that. So I think they maybe could adjust her blood pressure medication, and that might help some. So continue to remember her in prayer. Remember her brother, her last living sibling. He's been very sick. He's in the nursing home. He's not going to come home for Christmas, I don't think. He's probably going to spend Christmas in the nursing home. He actually has cancer as well. And he's fallen several times, and he has a bunch of broken bones, and he's just not doing good. I don't think he's in good spirits. His daughter, which would be Granny's niece, also has cancer. That whole family just they really need your prayers.
And also, just keep praying for Pastor Lon and you know, our friend that we've talked about on the channel before, and I think some of y'all watch his channel, but just please keep praying for him and his family as well.
He's going through a really hard time right now, too, and he needs our uplifting prayers for his situation. God knows the need there, but I hate to end the video on such a dull note. But,
I know, I feel like all we did was get on here and talk about...
It's okay, because, you know, something that's just life, but I'm not going to end there. I'm going to end with, but my Jesus, but God is so good, and he's been so good to me, and he's been so good to our family. And he's been there for all these people, whether you believe or whether you don't believe, because of God's mercy and God's grace. The sun rises and sets on your face every single day. You're a part of that. And I know that he's going to continue to be there for these people who are rendering aid. He's going to continue to be there for Granny. He's going to continue to be there for Lucky, her brother, and all these people who are in need. And we're going to continue to pray, and we're going to praise him at the most festive part of the year, which is celebrating the birth of the baby who changed, the Messiah who came and changed it for everyone, and all those people who never saw it. Isaiah, the prophet, and all of them, they talked about there's somebody coming, and they lived in hope, but they died long before they saw the Messiah, the gift, the precious golden light on the hill, which is Jesus, our Lord and Savior. So we have to remember that, no matter how hard. And I know doesn't take away how hard things are, but God,
but
he's here, and he's in all of it, and he's going to continue to be in all of it. He's in you, each and every one of you who have helped. He's in precious dear Wayne, Bud, all of them.
Absolutely. And just drop your prayer requests. We do the best we can with comments, but we pray for everyone.
Oh yeah, I say that big prayer that gets everybody. Absolutely. You know, every night. It's my duty. I've said I would.
Yeah, absolutely. So drop those comments, and I'm sorry, y'all. But sometimes they're just heavy stuff, you know? I mean, that's just life. There's just heavy stuff sometimes, but...
Well, and Corey reacts more in emotion. I just act in anger. Like, I'll just go around and my blood pressure will be high because I'm like, I have this obsession with justice, and that's just... Justice belongs to the Lord because the Lord is the only one righteous enough to even speak the word justice, right? Who would I ever be to wield justice? God is the only one righteous to ever go anywhere near that, but... You see the injustice, the people needing help and people suffering, and it just makes you mad, and you just think, well, what the heck is going on? Why can you people not get your crap together and put your garbage aside and help these people? And this is only one example of many hundreds of millions throughout the world, history, etc. Yeah. I mean,
it's true.
So that's me, you know. I kind of it's what I like to call the Presley rage, the Presley temper. Not that we're all really angry, but some of us are hot-headed.
You and Dad.
Me and Dad. Tony, my papaw, Ira, he's got the Presley rage. So, but it can be a great thing when you wield it, use it carefully. It can motivate you to get important things done. So, I like to think I work hard at channeling it into something wholesome and pure and important to the best of my ability. So,
but we love y'all. From us two wacky sisters in North Carolina, North Kakalaki. We love y'all, and we'll sign off for tonight. But we love y'all and praying for y'all, and y'all keep praying for us, and we'll do all we can to help the hurricane people. And that's what we'll do.
That's what we'll do. So without further ado, we will certainly catch you the rest of the week. But until then, God bless you. God keep you.
We'll see you on the next one.
And we'll, on the next video, you'll have to play Where's the Monkey in the Tree, because we'll hide it.
Well, who has the monkey?
I do.
I have not had a turn with the monkey in a while.
That's too bad.
Do you have plans with the monkey?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well.
All right, crawl over there. My legs are asleep. They ain't no way I'm moving. Take you a little crawl over there, Corey. In this video for us.
Goodbye and good night.
That's right.